Welcome to the Ringer Gambling Show, the Tuesday edition. I'm your host, Tate Frazier, and I am joined by the great cousin Sal. And
Yeah.
Sal, I got to call you out. I'm a little bit concerned right now. I listened to Guess the Lines on Sunday. It opened up with Bill talking about the pit. And then at the end of the show, he tried to pit you against all of our Ringer Gambling co-hosts and pick a favorite. Thank you for staying 10 toes down, but I'm a little concerned right now. I got to pit my stomach. What do we do
Oh.
about this?
Oh, yes. He came on. He asked me who my favorite co-host is. Is it Tate? Is it Joe House? I've known you guys for many years. Or is it Anthony DeBundo or Danny Heifetz, who I work
It was
with on
very Johnny
Fridays?
Cochran, by the way. Very leading question. It felt like he was trying to lead you
Yeah.
away from me and Joe House. I felt very offended, you know?
Right. No, you shouldn't be offended. I didn't rule you out, but I am going to have to probably, I mean, this is my game. How dare he put this on me? Like he invented it, but I am going to probably have to give him an answer like mid-October, he asked. So, if there are any favors, I like John and Vinny's pizza kits, whatever you want to send my way to make sure you get that coveted first spot.
Yeah, I'm going to do my best to try to woo you over. We got a fun show today. We got line look aheads. We got track to the future. We got some fantasy football talk with Danny Kelly. He's going to join us a little bit later. We're also going to do our favorite game, my favorite game, I should say, over under reactions. But first and foremost, we got to thank our presenting sponsor. This, of course, is the Ringer Gambling Show presented by FanDuel, and football is officially back in case you missed it. So if you're going to be in it with FanDuel. They got the goods, futures, live betting, SGPs, your way bets, all of it. The app's clean, it's fast, and yeah, you win. You get paid instantly. This week, they asked me to pick an upset, and I'm going to go Raiders at Commanders. I'm going to take the Raiders money line, plus 156. Marcus Mariota seems like he's going to be the starting quarterback, so it's kind of is it really an upset? I don't know. You tell me, but I'm going to take the Las Vegas Raiders, the 74-year-old Pete Carroll, I believe in. So get your bets in, build something bold, and make every game feel bigger. Download the FanDuel app and head to FanDuel.com/gamblers to get started now. Sal, now we get to have some fun. Let's talk Monday Night Football. Let's start with the first game, Bucks Texans. This was a Baker Mayfield show down the stretch. If it's the fourth quarter and he's meditating on the sideline after a little bit of shit talk, he's ready to play some football and make some plays. How impressed are you with the Bucks 2 weeks into the season?
I love them. Well, first of all, they're my Super Bowl team, right? So I'm excited about it. And
looks good after 2 weeks.
Yeah, and they're minus 180 now to win the division. They win 20-19. They win, they cover. Great drive by Baker. He's going to now be one of the best fourth quarter quarterbacks that we've seen this decade. And I know it's only 5 years in, but he is spectacular. So much fun to watch. Probably the weirdest career arc for a quarterback ever. Maybe Kurt Warner. I don't know. And then Baker, could have been one of the Browns' best ever. I know the bar is a little low, but I think the Texans are in a little bit of trouble. They're 2 games behind Daniel Jones. You can never fall that too far behind Daniel Jones. They needed to put Tampa Bay away. They got a gift because they were getting thrown around. 25-12 in first downs, 37-22 time of possession, almost 100 more yards of offense for Tampa Bay. Bulls team, it was great, and yet Houston had a chance. Really bad for Houston, and the Bucks keep stealing games that maybe they shouldn't win.
Yeah, I saw this stat earlier today. Teams that are 1-1, it's about a 50% chance to make the playoffs. Teams that are 0-2, about an 18% chance to make the playoffs in the NFL, which is really fascinating because if you look at this Texans team, obviously there was a lot of excitement. I had Nico Collins as my guy to be an offensive player of the year kind of sleeper pick. He had 2 chances in that game to get touchdowns. Yeah. Both of them he doesn't come down with. C.J. Stroud's getting hit. The offensive line is not protecting him like you would like. Will Anderson and that D-line on the other side look great against Baker Mayfield at times. But what's your concern level? Maybe we do a little panic meter here for the Texans at this point, Sal.
Well, first of all, I have to revisit your stat there. You said 18% of 0-2 teams. Yeah. If you're 0-2 in the AFC South, you have a 91% chance of making the playoffs.
Okay, updated.
Yeah, sorry, that's a new thing.
That's what happens when you get the Jags. You know what I mean?
But that dumb remark coincides with what you just asked me. Like, I'm not too worried about them, right? Because it is Daniel Jones at the top of the division at 2-0, and as good as they look, we know how this can be, right? Like, not likely that the Colts go on a 6-game winning streak. These teams still have to play each other, but I'm not seeing a lot of offense out of Houston. Like you said, Nico Collins, they just can't run the ball. is the other thing. And if Nico Collins is going to drop big passes, that puts CJ Stroud at a huge disadvantage.
To keep it a little bit positive, Nick Chubb gets a touchdown late in that game. They finally kind of cracked the code, it felt like, in the run game. So maybe there's some encouraging signs there. They had a
Yeah.
tough loss against the Rams, obviously another tough loss against Baker Mayfield. And can I ask you this question?
Maker Bayfield?
Baker Bayfield. That
Oh, I
sounds
like
like a good
that.
name. Maybe
Oh,
that
that's
could
all
be
right.
maybe that's like what he is when he's incognito. But Baker Mayfield, is this Sean McVay's greatest act? I know he's won a lot of games. He's won a Super Bowl. Everybody talks about the offensive guru, but the fact that he resurrected Baker Mayfield, I feel like we don't talk enough about that. So
He did. Wasn't that a Christmas game? It was like the
yeah, it
second
was
half
late,
of
late in
against the
season.
Raiders.
Yeah, they brought him in. He knew none of the plays. They were just like, good luck out there. And he basically resurrected his whole career.
It's really phenomenal. I touched on it, and I guess as soon as he left the Browns, the odds skyrocketed for a resurgence for sure. But it could have been so much easier had he stayed there. Right now, it's just a fun team, and they're never out of it, and their offense is a lot of. It's great to watch, and they got young, they got old, they got it all going on. I picked them to win, obviously, to make the Super Bowl. So to win the NFC South, they're minus 180 now, where it was essentially a coin flip, and they already have that win over the Falcons.
And as a Panthers fan, I still regret the fact that they let Baker Mayfield get away, Sal. He was the one that got away, and now he's torturing them in the same division. So it's tough. Let's talk about the second game, Monday Night Football doubleheader, obviously last night. Chargers at Raiders. Chargers opened the season with 3 straight divisional games. They now sit 2-0 in those games. And it does feel like, Sal, the Chargers aren't the Chargers of old. I don't want to get ahead of myself here. I mean, they did have that fumble late, which felt very, Chargers to do. Marion Hampton with that fumble, with Max Crosby making that great play. But again, no damage was done there, and they find a way to win this game. Do you believe in Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh on this Chargers team?
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I thought there was just one Monday night game. You're telling me there was a second Monday night game? I went to bed at 7 o'clock on the West Coast. Yeah, I mean, what is this? This is for years. It's been one game. No, I got emphysema just listening to Chris Fowler. Like I couldn't talk about a guy who should be able to take a day off. He's like coughing through the sideline interviews and stuff when they throw. So Geno Smith actually might have gotten emphysema listening to
any
Chris
pass
Fowler.
he threw over 10 yards was picked off in this game, which is an insane stat. Yeah.
Happy birthday, Pete Carroll. Yeah, 3 interceptions. Honestly, I can't tell if Geno was anemic or if the Chargers secondary is a major force this year. It looked pretty fast. I know every secondary is going to look fast compared to the Cowboys that I watched very intently for 3 hours. But that backdoor cover was open. Tate for Geno, he just couldn't get there. We're going to go over AFC West odds in a bit, but that was another nice road win, counting that first Brazil win as a road win, even though it's technically home, gets them prepared for playing in LA. I don't know. I like what I'm seeing out of the Chargers for sure. And the Raiders, you just knew like one of these two teams, they never put 2 great games together, right? So who was going to be fell flat on their face? Like, oh, we should have known it was the Raiders.
Yeah, and it was an impressive performance for Derwin James. They were talking about, you mentioned the broadcast, they were talking about his smile so much, but it was really the play on the field. They had 2 interceptions in this game that were both ricochet interceptions. They were calling them carom picks, you know what I mean? But Derwin James had a big one late in this game. The first play of the game is Deion Henley, who had an incredible, ricochet catch on the interception. He also had a huge sack in this game. So between Derwin, Deion Henley, unfortunately Khalil Mack gets hurt in this game, but the Chargers at every level of the defense look like a legit team right now. And Najee Harris had some big moments late in that game, coming in after the Hampton fumble. So encouraging signs for the Chargers, and I'm excited to see what happens. Broncos, Chargers coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Let's get to college football, Sal. Let's talk about this because we got some fun angles from this past Saturday and beyond. I wanted to float this by you. Miami, are they the best team in the country based on what we've seen so far? Do you believe in Carson Beck and this Miami team?
We're talking about the Hurricanes, not the Dolphins, right? Yeah, the best team in the country. Okay.
They might beat the Dolphins. Maybe they should play each other. That'd be a fun game.
It's tough. You love them. They beat USF, who you hinted that should have been in the top 10 before last week, and then they just thrashed
2
them.
ranked wins, Sal. Come on.
He's very effective back, despite throwing the 2 interceptions. They look like they might be best, but you're going to have to convince a lot of people, including FanDuel, who has them 8th best odds-wise to win the Natty. But Mario Cristobal, who I'm not a huge fan of, he's got them clicking. We're going to know better, though, I think, as they have two more state rivals, right? They have Florida this week and FSU. That's back-to-back weeks coming up. So, no, they're definitely in the conversation.
It feels like a trap game this weekend, potentially. Florida, everyone's written them off. Billy Napier, obviously 5 interceptions. Hard to win any game when you turn the ball over 5 times, especially at the hands of your quarterback, Jake Delhomme, as we like to call it. But we got it at the college level. So that'll be fascinating this weekend. But I do like this Miami team, and I think Carson Beck might be up there. I think right now he is the favorite, according to FanDuel, for the Heisman odds. If
he
you
is,
like what you've seen so far. And he's running the football this year, which is encouraging for Miami fans. The next game I want to talk about, a little pat on the back here. I call this my trap game of the season. Not really a trap game, though, because Georgia Tech looks like the better football team. But the Georgia Tech fire drill field goal, a little bit, reckless maybe, but they are the Ramblin' Wrecks, Sal. They get this off career long for Aiden Burr, and he makes the kick. They win this game. We want to pat ourselves on the back. You had +4.5. I had Georgia Tech money line. Did you watch this live, and what were your thoughts when they were going to do the fire drill field goal?
I did watch it live. I'm also going to pat myself on the back for having Georgia Tech. I wasn't as bold as you. You picked the upset. Good job by you. I took the points. I'll pat myself on the back, but I'm also going to slap myself with the same hand in the face hard because I had Clemson going to the finals, and it doesn't look like that maybe will happen. So I was torn. But as far as the fire drill, I love it when 11 guys and run out there, sprint as hard as they can, and not one of them does something stupid while, basically sprinting to a stop, right? And then the kick has to go through. It's great. The Yellow Jackets have been booked as an underdog 23 times. They're 17-6 against the spread with 13 outright wins. This is under Brent Key. He hasn't even coached 40 games. They're an amazing team to bet on. You're going to get a lot of value on them as an underdog. Good job by them.
And Brent Key, 7-1 against ACC-ranked opponents since he took the job back in 22. He has figured out a way to win these games. And Georgia Tech, a noon game, is always a trap game to watch out for. So shout out to the Ramblin' Wreck. And at the end of the season, we might get Georgia, our Bulldogs, who we picked to win the national championship, taking on this Georgia Tech team. That should be one of the best iterations of that game we've seen in quite some time. So excited for that. Speaking of, college football and good teams, we got 11 SEC teams that are in the AP Top 25 this week, Sal. Do you think this is some collusion for some power conference supremacy, or do you buy the fact that there are 11 teams in the SEC that are that good?
Oh, they're really 11. Oh, man. I'm looking at this now. Yeah, I guess because Missouri, Auburn, and Vanderbilt are all 3-0, right? So that's going to they probably won't end up undefeated. Is Texas still in the top 25? Let me look.
They're number 8.
Oh, they are. Oh, wow. That's generous.
They just kind of slowly fall down like a couple spots every single week, just as they beat terrible teams.
How they do that with the worst quarterback in the country? Look, it doesn't really matter. Top 25. They're going to get 4 in the playoffs, I think. This is their year. Big Ten, we talked about it. Reluctantly, they gave them 4 teams, and that's because Indiana lost 1 game. What are you going to do? You have to. I think the SEC gets the 4, and the Big Ten gets the 3 this year.
Yeah, we got 12 teams in the playoffs. Obviously, we have the guaranteed buckets of, how many from each conference are probably going to get in, in our heads. They're going to make that official very soon. But if you got 11 SEC teams in the top 25, the SEC propaganda is going to be pushing for 11 of the 12 spots to be in the SEC. So good luck to the ACC, the Big 12, and the Big 10. The propaganda machine will keep churning along. I want to talk about this backdoor cover. I don't know if you saw this out. Penn State, they've been favored by over 40 points in back-to-back weeks. Villanova, they had a chance to hold 2 teams scoreless in back-to-back weeks, but Villanova, their last drive, an unbelievable pass and maybe an even better catch to cover the spread here. How insane was this beat, and how funny is it that Villanova found a way to cover this game?
It's the bet ache of the year. I don't care anything else that happens the rest of the season. I'll set the stage. I know you did a little bit. So it's an awful game, right? Villanova practices football with a basketball, right? They do bounce passes. It's stupid that they have a football team. So if you're going to watch on TV, or God forbid, be there in person, you have to bet this game. You have to. And you're going to bet the home team. So let's roll the clip if we have it. The line's 46.5. It's 52-0 Nittany Lions. 4 seconds left. The crowd's going bonkers, by the way, because 90% of them bet the home team, so they don't die of boredom watching.
Lines, right?
Yeah. Quarterback from Villanova rolls left, rolls right, in trouble. Did he step out? Did he cross the line of scrimmage? Barely, no. And he heaves it, and a miraculous backdoor ball grab, insanity, Nova plus 46.5 cashes, and Rolly Massimino is doing cartwheels in his grave. What a bet egg, Tate. Just the worst.
Shout out to Villanova. Shout out to the Massimino family. And shout out to that kid, the one-handed catch there to cover the spread.
Unbelievable.
And, I'm sure he made a lot of his Villanova friends happy that had their FanDuel apps out at that moment because they believed that Villanova could cover that game, especially the way that Penn State has looked early on in the season. Let's look ahead. Let's do some line look aheads. This weekend, we got some really good games. Obviously, Florida-Miami is the college game day game, and a lot of people are, shaking their fists at the sky about this, upset about it because they want this game to be the college game day, and it could be the Big 12 title game. It could be a look ahead there. So let's start here. Number 17, Texas Tech at number 16, Utah. Utah favored -3.5 in this one. The over-under is set at 57.5. Who do you like in this one, Sal?
I think this is where the Fox crew is going, but I am very proud of my Utah to win the Big 12 pick so far. I printed it out and I put it up on the mantle for the children
Like
to
a
admire.
picture frame. Nice.
That's exactly right. I still think it's going to happen. This is a good one though. Red Raiders quarterback Baron Morton's done well with his knee injury, but now he's again up against a top 5 defense boasted by the Utes. Devin Dampier, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions, 6 yards per carry. He knows how to extend drives. That crowd's going to be awesome. Texas Tech's done all their winning at home, I believe. So this is a totally different atmosphere in Salt Lake City. I like the Utes. I'm going to take them. I like them to cover 30-17.
I like that call. I like Wayshawn Parker, their running back as well. He was at Wazoo last year. Enjoyed watching him play. And I think Utah's got a lot of talent. The only thing I worry about with Utah is that they might be a little bit overrated because of that win against UCLA. And UCLA, as we both know, is
They're not
really
good.
bad. Yeah, Deshaun Foster no longer has a head coaching job because of that fact. So I'm a little bit concerned about that. Both these teams have not really been tested yet. I would lean a little bit just being at home that you can buy into Utah. But for some reason, I keep going back to Texas Tech. And I do think Texas Tech is a really talented group. And I do think that they have maybe a little bit more depth. And they're going to kind of slow this game down. Not going to be a shootout. Going to be some limited possessions here. And I'm going to take Texas Tech money line plus 138. I like the value there, Sal.
This is your Georgia Tech upset from last week.
Took Texas A&M as well last week against Notre Dame.
That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
So
Good times.
I'm riding with the Texas teams. It's football. We got to do that. Next up, line look ahead. Number 22, Auburn at number 11, Oklahoma. Sooners -6.5 in this game. The over-under set at 48.5. A good matchup of quarterbacks here. We got John Mateer, who's up there for a Heisman favorite, and we got Jackson Arnold, who has looked really good so far. Hugh Freeze 2 seasons ago started out 3-0, into the season 6-7. So Auburn fans, a little bit of trepidation going into this game. They're still trying to buy into this team. Who do you like in this one, Sal?
Yeah, Oklahoma didn't let down last week after beating Michigan, so that was a good sign for Sooners fans. Another tough test this week with Jackson Arnold, like you said, former playing on the road, right, after transferring from Oklahoma.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
A little homecoming, right?
There you go. So coming back to town, Oklahoma 1-5 straight up in their last 6 games against an opponent in the SEC. Material, like you said, it's been fun too, but I think this is a good battle decided in the last few minutes. Look for running back Jeremiah Cobb to take over here. I'll take the points, 27-22. I think I'm taking the Tigers in an upset, but take the points plus 6.5.
I like that. I like that call. Cam Coleman, their number 1 receiver, kind of came to life last week and had a big catch. That was encouraging signs for Auburn fans. He was the number 1 recruit in Alabama, decided to go to Auburn instead of Alabama. So they're hoping he can turn into a star. I'm going to go over in this game. I know Oklahoma's defenses look legit, especially against Temple and even against Michigan as well. But I still think that this team with Auburn, with Jackson Arnold's legs, I think he's going to give them a little bit of trouble. And I think we're going to have John Mateer gunslinging around the field. And I think this is going to be a high scoring affair. So I like the over in this one. You can get that at -105. So there you go. That'll be a fun game. I think if you're not even a fan of college football, turn that one on, put it in the background.
That's
have
a good
some fun
one.
watching.
You'll take my score there, Tate. I said 27-22. You got the over 48.5. So it just gets there. Just gets there.
That's all we need just to get there. We just saw that with Villanova, as we talked about earlier.
Man,
just got to get over, get across that threshold.
Have to score 1 touchdown. That's all.
Yeah, there you go. Next up, line look ahead. We got number 9, Illinois at number 19, Indiana. Indiana -4.5 in this game. Over under set at 52.5. If you haven't seen Indiana this year, they have 2 brothers that are out there playing quarterback, the Mendoza brothers, throwing the ball around. So it's fun to watch that. Fernando Mendoza was a Cal last year. Who do you like liking this game, Sal? Top 10 Illinois taking on a top 20 Indiana team.
It's a fun one because Illinois was supposed to be this year's Indiana, what they were last year, right?
Hmm.
Sneaky team come out of nowhere in the Big Ten, and then you look up at the end of the year and they're like, "What? They have one loss? That's crazy." If they get past the Hoosiers, Illinois, that could really be the case for them because they're home against Ohio State in a few weeks. That's kind of their only big test the rest of the way. I think they're home against USC too, but they might be able to afford to lose that one and then just have 1 or 0 losses if they beat Ohio State the rest of the year. I'm taking the points. Is a long way of saying I'm taking the points. They had a classic game a couple years back, 45-43 in overtime. Illini covered their last 7 games, and they're 15-2 against the spread in their last 17 games played on a Saturday on the road. And this game, Tate, is played Saturday on the road. I don't know if you know that, but Luke Altmaier, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. He's been perfect. They pull off the road win. Illini do 23-20.
And I do feel like Illinois gets better as the game kind of wears on. We saw that against Duke. Duke looked great early. It felt like they were kind of in control of that game. You get a muff punt. It turns the game sideways. Brett Bielema is great at kind of the substitutions on defense to make sure that you play at his pace. So I really like Illinois as well. I'm going to take them plus 4.5. So minus 110. We're both on the side of the Fighting Illini, which might be good for Indiana fans. They like being the underdog, Sal. So this is perfect for them. Last one in college football line look ahead. We got Florida at number 4, Miami. Miami minus 7.5 in this one. The over-under is 51.5. What do you like here, Sal? Do you think the Gators can make some magic happen?
I think we're on the same side, although you're doing something slightly crazier than I am. I'm Florida plus 7.5. I don't know why I'm taking them again. Their offense no-showed against LSU. Now on the road again at Miami, who we've talked about. It's been excellent. This goes against all the trends and pretty much everything we've seen. DJ Lagway, you said, threw 5 picks last week. They couldn't protect him. Not sure why that will change against Cristobal's team, but they did hold Nussmeier to under 3 touchdowns. Maybe they do the same and cover versus Carson Beck. I'm going to say 23-19. Florida plays close, but I don't love it. My God, what are you doing here?
Hey, I'm doing something even more insane. I just, in my mind's eye, I've seen Mario Cristobal lose some games that he should not lose. And, for example, they were up 21-0 against Syracuse last year and they lose that game, right? So I've seen some crazy things, some strange things happen with these Miami teams. And I do feel like Miami might be peeking ahead a little bit, Sal, to Florida State, might be kind of worried about that game and what it looks like for ACC ramifications. Maybe they're feeling themselves a little bit too much this week. And in Florida, this is basically Billy Napier and this team's kind of last chance, moment for this season to see if they're actually going to have any sort of relevancy. It would be huge for the SEC. So I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Gators. I'm going to chomp along. I'm going to take them Florida money line plus 230. I think it's a weird game. I think it's a wonky game.
I love it. Go for it.
Yeah, for some reason, I think the Gators win this game. And DJ Lagway, even though he threw the 5 picks, Sal, he went to the press conference. He answered all the questions. And I just kind of had this feeling like he's going to have a big week next week. And,
we know
so
he's
I'm
better
buying
than
into the
that.
hype.
He was 6-0
right.
as a starter last year. He's better than that. But back to your first question. Is Miami that good? We're definitely going to find out. And now we're going to take a break. Oh, no, we don't take a break. Yeah.
Well, we're going to skip ahead to the NFL here, and we're talking about the Miami Dolphins now. Line look ahead, Thursday Night Football, Dolphins at Bills, the divisional showdown. Bills minus 12.5 in this one. I know you and Bill were guessing around like 9.5 to 12.5. Big number. Total 49.5. We got player props on the board. Is there one that sticks out to you, Sal, that you like?
Well, yeah, first of all, it's down to 11.5. Sharp money on the coming in on the
there
Dolphins. Before I tie the Bills money line, like everyone's going to have this as their eliminator pick, right? So get it out of the way Thursday. Don't have to worry about it. Is there a chance? This junk team sneaks up on the Bills? I don't think so. I really don't. They've won 6 in a row in this rivalry. They've won 13 out of 14. And Josh Allen pulled out just enough to beat the Jets. They could have scored 40. So I won't pick the game, but you're right. Let's do a prop. Khalil Shakir over 40.5 receiving yards, minus 114. There was no reason to throw last week in the second half, so his stats weren't terrific, but he's hit this in 4 of his last 5 games. He's averaged 50 yards receiving over that span. He went over this number both games against Miami last year. Khalil Shakir, taking him off my fantasy bench in like 4 leagues, and I expect big things.
I like it, and I like the call. I just feel like this game is going to have some weird moments just because of the divisional aspect, and I do feel like the Bills know that they're a much better football team, and maybe they overlooked a few things here. And I think Dolphins defense,
Mm.
anytime touchdown plus 800. I just think they're going to have some weird play where maybe they try to get a little too cute with some sort of handoff. Josh Allen, like a little jet sweep play, a botched handoff leads to a Dolphins recovery for a touchdown. And that might be the one score that they have all game. But I'm going to take the
Yeah.
Dolphins, take a big swing here. I'm taking a big swing on the Gators, big swing on the Dolphins. Again, I'm the host of this show,
Yeah, I
I'm
know
not a
you do
sharp,
it.
I'm
Can we
just
see
having
in
fun.
the comments which is a stupider pick for Tate? Miami defense to
Yeah, let's
score,
do a poll. Yeah, let's
or
figure that
or
out.
Florida to
But if it
upset
hits,
Miami?
I will
Of
celebrate.
course, you only have to
Yeah.
hit a couple of these. There you go.
Hopefully, there's some hits on Josh Allen and we get some turnovers for the Dolphins. And I'm sure JJ will be happy about that. We've done the line look aheads. Now let's track to the future. Some updated win total values after week 2, Sal. Is there something on the board that looks tasty to you after what we've seen? We now have at least a bit of a sample size so far for
Yeah.
this season.
Well, last week I took 49ers under 10.5 wins. This is when they'd left the line at it, something reasonable. I can't remember what it was after the Purdy injury was announced. I probably could have waited. I would have gotten better odds now that they put up their second win. But I'm going to do a similar thing here, going Washington under 9.5. I didn't love them coming into the season as it was. They were the oldest team in the league before they signed Von Miller. They got very lucky last year. I like them under 9.5. I'm going to load up more on that. I don't get it. It didn't seem to move very much after the no-show to Green Bay, and now their savior Jaden Daniels has a knee injury, and there's still a coin flip of a market that has them winning 10 games. They have the Eagles twice more. They have the Falcons. They have the Lions. They have the Broncos. They have more division games. There's no guarantee. And especially, we know Marcus Mariota is now starting Sunday. If he has to start a few games, I think this is easy. Maybe they luck out at 9-8 and make the playoffs, but that's still under. Give me under 9.5 wins for the Commanders.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for Commanders fans. Shout out to Joe House that this is, just a not a lingering situation here because you had such a great first year with Jaden Daniels. Everyone was talking about the RG3 opening season and all that sort of stuff. You just want to keep him healthy. Learn to
Right.
slide. That's really what it comes down to. All these guys.
Mhm.
Let's work on sliding maybe in the off season. Let's go to a baseball
Why don't you
practice.
teach a clinic? Why don't you have a
I
clinic
love
there, like
sliding. You know what I
Asheville or
mean? Like,
something?
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
Tate
go out to
sliding camp.
Arizona or North
Yeah.
Carolina. We'll do some sliding. Any of those baseball places. They
I
love it.
wonder if there is a market in there, like if you could teach quarterbacks to slide. It's just really a slide camp. People with a lot of money willing to spend it, just on their.
Herbert's a really good slider usually, but last night he had a weird, like he kind of went down a little bit later and his
That was
leg almost
dumb.
got stuck up under him. Yeah, and he almost got hurt. And I was, I'm at home recoiling, being like, please don't get hurt, Justin
By the
Herbert.
way,
But
that
again,
was what that he snapped that with 2:02 in the fourth. He could go out of bounds. Like we're getting the 2-minute warning. He doesn't have to stay
right.
in bounds. That was really a bonehead play, but didn't matter.
Yeah, I'm knocking on wood. I'm glad he's okay. But again, we'll figure out our sliding camp and we'll sell it to the youth out there and we'll find some future quarterbacks. Talking win totals, I took the Cowboys over, so I felt really good when our guy Brandon Aubrey made those kicks last weekend, made me look a little bit
Yeah.
better. I'm going to take Bengals under 7.5 wins. You can get that at plus 115 right now, and I understand Jake Browning went 4-3. He's a good, competent quarterback. Bill said he was the best backup in the league, so shout out to Jake Browning. But I just don't feel like this Cincinnati team without the Joe Burrow effect, just kind of the downtrodden nature of the fact that he's hurt. He's getting compared to Andrew Luck on all these shows right now. They're showing the graphics about the mini games that he's played and all this sort of stuff. So I just don't like the vibes right now in Cincinnati. They had a weird offseason with the Hendrickson holdout. So at this point, I just think Cincinnati under feels like a safe play without Joe Cole, Joe Burrow out there. So, yeah, plus
I
115.
don't
I like
mind
the
that.
pick.
Yeah, I don't mind that. That was another one that was inflated coming into this season, and you assume a lot that Joe Burrow is going to finish the year the way that offensive line is built around him, or not built. I wouldn't even say that's
Oh,
built.
man.
I feel like that somebody left a construction site, and that's what they have. So if you're getting plus money at 7 and 10, that's not bad.
Maybe you put Trey Hendrickson on the other side and let him block for Joe Burrow. I
Yeah,
don't know
no
what
kidding.
you do, but
They
they
gave him
got to
a lot
figure
of
out a way
money.
to protect their quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, track to the future. NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. Makuba, by the way, for the Eagles, kind of got his name on the board after some big plays this past
Right.
weekend. But who do you have, Sal? Who do you like as we
haven't-
get into week 3?
Well, yeah, I mean, you might as well stay with the Eagles, right? I'm looking at now the odds. I have Jihad Campbell at plus 750, is it now, for defensive
Yep.
rookie of the year? Has that moved? I think it's 750. Plus 750. He's tied for the team lead in tackles versus the Chiefs the other day. He played 58 out of 60 snaps. This kid's 21 years old. He's playing every single snap on defense, already making his mark. SEC, Philly, this always seems to work out for the Eagles. I'm going to take my hard-earned Spotify dollars and play it on an emotional hedge bet. Jihad Campbell plus 750, defensive rookie of the year.
I think it's good though when they go to Philadelphia because, like, you've seen the craziness of the SEC fans, so it doesn't really
Yeah.
shock you. You know what I mean? You're kind of used to it, so I feel like it's a perfect fit, match made in football heaven. There, I like that call. I'm gonna
Is
go
he
with
going
Will.
to spit though? Is he going to spit? That's what we need to know. We got
Almost did a spit take right there.
perfect fit. Did he spit? Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I'm going to do Will Johnson here with the Cardinals. I like the storyline of Will Johnson. He kind of had Jonathan Gannon told the story that he kind of had to get him right, and he realized that he's a very cerebral guy, and that he had he likes to study specific receivers that he matches up with. So not the temperament that he expected, but I like his game, and I think Will Johnson at PFF had him rated as the #1 corner after week 1. So I just think he's going to have some big plays this season. I'm not really buying in on the Cardinals, but sometimes we've seen some bad teams have some good players and they get hyped up because of that fact. So Will Johnson plus 1900, more of a long shot pick, but if you don't know the name, you will know it very soon. So
I got news for you, Tate. Plus 1200 now. You and PFF did a number on this odds here, and so now he is tied for like 5th, I think, in defensive rookie of the year. Right
Can
there.
I say this? I don't like it as much now.
Is he going to win or is he not going to win?
Yeah, I like the odds. I
Yeah,
like
that's a big.
that
Is a big move from. I mean, they played Sunday, and then we saw plus 1900 yesterday morning. That shouldn't move that much. Someone put in a big bet on FanDuel on Will Johnson. It was you.
Yeah, someone saw something, in that game, and they made a big move there. Last one, track to the future, AFC West. We talked about the Monday Night Football game. Obviously, the Chiefs are a big topic of conversation across all football channels at this point. So looking at this division, Sal, who do you like, track to the future?
Well, I get it. The Chargers are favored now. They're plus 105 actually now. I think they were plus 145 or so when we were talking about this in the fourth quarter, and it looked like they were going to beat the Raiders anyway. But I'm going to go Chiefs plus 230. I really don't like much about this team. The defense doesn't seem to be as stout as previous years. It's only 2 weeks, but their offense is just as lethargic as years past. Struggle to get to 24. I think that's going to be the story most of the year. They have no real receiving threats till Xavier Worthy comes back. But they're the Chiefs, and after
they're trading
for
Tyreek
Giants,
Hill, right? I mean, that's that.
Trading
I feel like
him?
that.
Yeah.
I think they're
getting
trading
back,
for Tyreek Hill. Yeah, I think they're getting him back. I feel
Interesting.
like if you're taking the Chiefs' future right here, it's under the idea that they're going to make that move. I think that's going to happen.
All right. Yeah. I mean, what do you even get for Tyreek Hill right now? Is it a 3 or is it a 2?
Yeah, it's probably like a 3rd-round pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe some cash considerations or something. I don't know. Maybe it's like some sort of swap, but I don't think it's too much for the Chiefs. And from what I've gathered from those little sources I have, so it
Tell me
sounds
who
like
they are.
Yeah,
Who's
okay,
telling
let me
you
write
this?
it. Let
Yeah.
me write them out. Yeah.
Okay, just write it out and show me. You don't have to say it.
So I like that bet because of that. I think Tyreek Hill going back to the Chiefs would be huge.
Well, not to mention, I know you're going to give your pick in a second, but the Chargers play Denver. They could lose that. It's a tough game. It's going to be a lot of Denver fans here in LA. And then if the Chiefs beat the Giants, which they will on Sunday night, they'll be like a game out, and they'll still have their home game against the Chargers. So I think I don't love the team right now, but plus 230 is as good a value as you're going to get on the Chiefs in a while.
Yeah, while you have the plus money out there, you might as well take it because the Chiefs are not. We saw Travis Kelce lose his mind this past week, and I feel like they're not going to sit back and wait. They're going to go for it 100%. And there's all the tush push conversation, but again, they're not playing good football. They're missing a playmaker. There's one in Miami that is waiting for the call, I believe.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to believe in the Chargers. I'm going to take them plus 145. I do think Justin Herbert is on his way to an MVP season if he can learn to slide. And in general, I just really like this defense. I know Khalil Mack got hurt. I mentioned that before. I'm hoping it's not something too serious. It was an elbow. Hopefully it's a contusion or something like that. It was just kind of a weird landing. Got hit by his own guy, Troy Dye. So I'm going to buy into the Chargers. I know that's never a smart play, never a sharp play. But for whatever reason this year, I just feel like something's different. So I'm going to take them plus 145 to finally break through and win this division.
All your odds are moving on you, Tate. I'm sorry. This is
what was it?
Plus 105 now. But yeah. Look, this is it. Someone's getting a hold of your outline ahead of time, and this is what happens. So
I get
plus
Harry to put
105.
in the
Yeah.
picks for me, and all the lines start moving. I don't know what's going
Of
on.
course. I mean, he's a big man. He can move anything. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are moving. You don't move anywhere. If you're, listening to the podcast, we're going to take a quick break. If you're watching us live, stay tuned right here because we got my favorite game coming up. We're going to play some over/under reactions. All right, Sal, let's do it. Over/under reactions.
Here
Just
we
a
go.
few this week. Let's start here. A simple one. A lot of people talking about this team in college football. I say to you, Clemson will not make the CFP this season. Over/under reaction.
I mean, I had them, like I said, going to the finals. This was an embarrassing pick for me. More embarrassing, I think, for Dabo. Is it too late for him to grab portal kids? I'm not sure how it works.
He
Or at
only
least
got three, and one of
yeah,
them's good. He got the kid from Purdue. That's probably their best defensive player so far. It's
maybe get
insane.
rid of the other two. I'm not sure. FanDuel would say this is the proper reaction because no, to not make the playoffs is minus 800. So you're getting
Wow.
plus 520 that they will make it. The offense has been pretty lousy, which is surprising under Klubnik. But I'm looking at their schedule: Syracuse, UNC, SMU, BC, Duke. Big favorite in most of these games. They host FSU in November. That's going to be the key to see if they can get a spot in that ACC championship game. I'm an idiot. I'll take the plus 520 and say they claw their way in. I don't know.
I mean, they are the most talented team in the country. We heard that from every expert in college
That's right.
football. They definitely don't look like the most talented team in the country. But again, you have to think at some level they will get better as the season kind of wanes on. So I don't think they're saying it's 5% chance to make the CFP. I think it's got to be a
Right.
little bit higher than that. I think it's probably more like 20, 15, somewhere in that range. So wouldn't count it out. Dabo. By the way, Sal, do you know what Dabo, how he got his name? You know, that's not his real name. Have we
This is
talked
going to
about this
be
before?
this is going to be underwhelming, but yeah, tell me, what is it?
His grandpa, I guess, or someone in his family, I think he said his pawpaw or whatever, would call him Dat Boy. So he'd be like, they had so many kids running around, he'd be like, Dat Boy over there. And so Dat Boy turned into Dabo. So
Oh,
Dabo,
okay.
Dat Boy.
I
Over
like
there.
that. I
Yeah,
like
you like
that.
that. Yeah.
So it's a grandparent's indifference that led to this cool nickname. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I don't need to learn your names. I went through the
Yeah.
depression, Dat Boy.
Let
over
me
there.
show you how much my grandfather didn't care about me so much that this nickname stuck, and that's love for you.
And now he's the head coach of Clemson. He went from the
Right.
interim to the head coach to now he's much maligned across the fan base. A
Yeah,
lot of
he's going to get a
Clemson
different.
fans.
He's going to get a
Yeah.
different nickname now if he's not careful. I don't know if Grandpa's still with us, but I'd be interested to see what he called him after last week's performance.
Yeah, there's a lot of Clemson people in my life that are saying, let him go, but let him go to Alabama. We want him out of here. They're even talking about Brent Venables, who was
Yeah.
basically pre-fired at Oklahoma last year. So Clemson fans, calm down. Season's not over. We'll see what happens. Next up, speaking of people needing to calm down, I say to you, Sal, Arch Manning deserved to get booed by Texas fans. Over or under reaction?
Oh man, expectations so high for Texas football, right? Friday Night
Right.
Lights was spot on. Coach Taylor, always under a microscope. Yeah, miserable first half for Arch. He's now 35-1 to win the Heisman after being favored. His mechanics do not look right. And listen, I know, sure, he's getting paid now, so maybe he can't get booed, right? So, all right, underreaction, I'll say, because he is getting paid so much. But let's not freak out yet. He also had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 51 yards on the ground. I think he'll be okay, just maybe not the Vince Young caliber quarterback that everyone in Texas hoped for. So I'll say he deserved it, sure, underreaction.
Yeah, I think Bill Polian should go on TV again and call him a running back like he did with Lamar Jackson. That seemed to help Lamar become a great quarterback. So he needs someone to call him a running back, and then he can, become the quarterback we all hope he would be at some point. So maybe that's the next play for the Manning family. And also, shout out to them. I don't know how they got everybody to pick him to be the favorite and say he's the greatest player since Tim Tebow, but they know what they're doing over there. So shout out to Omaha. They got things done. Next up, the tush push, Sal, will not be a legal play this time next season. Over or under reaction? Your thoughts?
Don't get me started. You got me started. You need 2 owners to flip. I think they will. I'm going to say
Yeah.
underreaction. And I think it's because the refs have lost control. I think I'm getting a little, I just sounded like a bitter old man screaming about this because my division rival is so good at this play. But the refs have admittedly lost control. They can't call it right. And if the networks are going to show replays of these tush pushes, and it's going to show that a bunch of linemen are moving before the snap and that the refs are incompetent or just not able, I don't even blame them for this. There's like 22 300-pound guys covering a ball, and you have to figure out who moved first. And also, it just sucks, right? So let them carry hockey sticks and pickleball rackets, so long as it doesn't have to resemble football play. I'm going to say underreaction.
And you got the center lining up offsides, right? You got the
Mm.
slow-mo videos of the guards jumping early, right? There's
Yeah,
just too much technicality going on, and we're talking about leverage 24/7. So I just feel like if there were other teams that were doing this, like if there were 3 or 4 teams that were doing this, feels like maybe this issue is a little bit harder to manage, but there is
yeah.
one team and they're running it too much, Sal. Like someone's going to get severely injured, right? I mean, the center, like somebody's going to get really hurt. And that's what I feel like it'll actually jump the gun. But
Here's the other thing, and I haven't heard anyone other than me. I'm one of the best sports media prognostic. I didn't play the game, so but I don't know that you'd hear this from Ryan Clark. If everybody gets good at this play, we're kind of lucky that it's only the Eagles. If everybody gets good at this play, football is boring as shit, and we're in trouble. If everybody just has to get to 3rd and 3, and then they're going to convert on the next 2 plays, about half of our viewing experience is going to be miserable.
Also, I liked watching Geno Smith kind of work the QB sneaks. You know what I mean? I like watching those guys be able
Yeah.
to kind of pick the channel to go through. I mean, there's an art to the QB sneak. Tom Brady, I mean, not a mobile guy by any means, but it was a great QB sneak quarterback, right? Because he kind of knew where the gap was and where they leaned into and where he could lean out of. I mean, there's an art to that. I know Philly fans in my life get very upset when you talk about the tush push. They're very, very sensitive about the subject. So we don't want to upset the Eagles fans, but maybe once a game, maybe twice, maybe once a half. But when you're doing it 4 or 5 times,
Yeah, I
you're
like
losing it.
0. I
Yeah.
like 0 as a number. Someone tweeted that we have such an obesity problem. Why can't we find 5 fat guys to push every quarterback, the best athlete on the field,
Yeah.
forward 6 inches? But it's only the Eagles.
And even Saquon doesn't like it. Yeah, he's like, I got to touch, Jalen Hurts' butt. You know what I mean?
Of
And Peyton
course.
Manning was talking about his butt cheeks too much. Like, I feel like everybody's a little bit over it. And
Well,
guess what? You got the
Saquon,
best running back in football. Give him the football. Let him
that's
get a
exactly
touchdown.
right. I mean, he might have been the MVP if he got like 7 of those 14, I think 14 touchdowns for Jalen Hurts, most of them from the one.
Yeah, we could talk about this all day.
I know,
Next
let's
up,
move
Sal, under 7.5 starting quarterbacks will still be playing by Christmas. We're already getting a lot of guys going down. Over or under reaction?
Oh man, I hope that's an overreaction. It doesn't look
Me
good
too.
though. Purdy, Burrow, McCarthy, and now Daniels. This is a bad pace. Do we have to go to preseason training camp rules? Like you don't touch the quarterback.
Put a red jersey on
yeah.
everybody.
Only time you could touch the quarterback is if you're on the same team, shoving him from behind in the process of completing the world's most boring play. See how I got back to that day? I don't know. Anyway,
That's called a nice callback there. I like
yeah,
that.
I'm gonna say hopefully underreaction.
I hope so too. We definitely don't want that to happen. We want everybody to
Yeah.
stay healthy. A guy that needs to stay healthy for Jerry and the Cowboys, Sal, I say to you, Brandon Aubrey should be in the Offensive Player of the Year conversation. Over or under reaction? He's incredible.
All right, I chuckled when you put this up, and then I looked and I saw that he's not in the conversation, which okay, that's fine. But these are players that are. Shador Sanders is in the conversation for Offensive Player of the Year.
That's how I got here. I went to
Yes.
the odds and I was like,
Yeah.
if he's listed, then Brandon Aubrey should be listed.
What the? What are you kidding me? Jawan Jennings, Ramondre Stevenson. I mean, how great is it going to be next August? By the way, when Aubrey's holding out and Jerry plays the cat and mouse game, and then 3 days before kickoff, he signs with the Eagles. Like that might
Look
be
here,
it for
Brandon. I might have to
Yeah.
franchise you.
Brandon. I don't deal with Brandon Aubrey's agent. Sorry, that's just how it is. Has any fan ever left this team because the kicker wasn't signed? Because that's where I am right now.
Yeah, I think it's a great call. Speaking of great calls, Brandon Aubrey was supposed to be playing in the MLS, Sal. He's supposed to be irrelevant. We're never going to talk
Yeah.
about him. He's on the Houston Dynamo or whatever team he gets drafted to, and we never know his name. Instead, from Notre Dame decides he's going to be a kicker in the NFL. So, I mean, maybe the greatest career move I've ever heard of. So, Brandon Aubrey, salute to you.
A couple more. Pat Fryermuth, 400 to 1. David Njoku, 400 to 1. How much people broadcast talking about David Njoku with Brandon Aubrey's name and the distance and what they have to go to? That took up like an hour of the 3 hour. Josh Downs, 400 to 1. Are you kidding me? Brandon Aubrey can't be on this list. Come on,
He's got to be
fam.
500 to 1. Come on, FanDuel. Brandon Aubrey,
Something.
500 to 1. Let
Yeah.
us bet on this so we can lose money and make you money. This is
He's
the
a
moment.
great player on a great team. Oh
He's the
no, no,
best offensive player on the Cowboys, which is
that's
America's
all.
team. So there you
Right.
go. Next up, speaking of the best nickname, is what I'll say on this one. So Indiana Jones, aka Daniel Jones, is the best nickname in the NFL. Over or under reaction? That's a great one.
It's great. It fits perfect geographically, but I think it's an overreaction. I mean, as long as there's Cooper, two girls, one cup, that's terrific. Joe Cool for Burrow is classic, pretty great. But we talked about Saquon. How about that nickname? Saquon Barkley, Quadzilla. Quadzilla. That's a real, I mean, those massive quad. It's the reason I never skip leg day, Tate. That's it. Because Quadzilla, I want someone to call me Quadzilla. And by the way, he can't skip leg day now with a name like Quadzilla because he can't afford to. If they become like pencil thin, he's got to get off the Quadzilla, someone else's Quadzilla.
Quadzilla's pretty good.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones versus Quadzilla. That sounds like a movie franchise they could make at this
Let's
point.
do
So
it.
maybe they get that movie done, and then we'll do our slide camp. And look at us, we got a whole business empire at this point. So that would be
Love it.
good. Last over under reaction. Phil Mickelson's Scotty Scheffler hot take is the coldest take ever. He said back in March, "Here's a hot take: Scotty will not win an event this season." And if you don't keep up with the PGA Tour, Scotty Scheffler basically wins every tournament he plays
Yeah.
in. He just won this past weekend. Without many people even watching it up in Napa Valley. Ben Griffin had every chance to win that tournament, but for whatever reason, Scotty wins again. Sal, over or under reaction?
I mean, you could have gotten Scotty Saturday morning at plus 650 or something. It's like he's almost always going to be there. We should be making money hand over fist with it. I'm going to say slight underreaction. Max Kellerman, who I loved, seeing him back calling the fight the other night.
Yeah.
He said Brady was done. Remember, like 20 years ago, he said Brady was done. Maybe me saying Clemson would make the Natty finals a few weeks ago. That could be the worst take ever. But no, we know Phil. This is interesting because we know Phil bets, right? So I'd love to feed him some truth serum and find out how much he's losing shorting Scotty Scheffler. 80 million, 100 million, somewhere in there. Is that what we think?
Somewhere in that range. And also, my Florida Gators pick, money line, is probably the worst pick ever. So, we can all commiserate together.
No,
Phil
we'll see.
Mickelson. Yeah, we'll
That
see.
still has life.
Yeah, it's still alive at this point. If you're listening to the podcast, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we're going to have Danny Kelly from the Ringer Fantasy Show join us. And if you're watching us live, he just came into the screen. Danny Kelly. Hey, DK, how you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Sorry we went late, Danny. We have a lot of important things to talk about. The tush push, no one's covering it. So, we got to give 10 minutes on it.
No, I agree
we had
with
to
your
get
takes.
through that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to let people know where we stand. I wanted to ask you this, Danny, before we get into all the many questions about fantasy and things like this. How, you're a Seahawks guy. You know the Seahawks very well, covered them for a long time. How strange is it for you to see, Pete Carroll, Geno Smith, see guys that are such Seahawks in the black and silver? Is that still strange for you?
Oh, it's absolutely bizarre. There was a video where Pete Carroll was holding Gino's hand and kind of talking to him after a bad play last night, and I was just like, man, this is so surreal. They're all wearing different uniforms. It's like I dreamed when they were on the Seahawks together or something. But yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
It is strange. At 74 years old, though, he's still sprinting down the sideline. So shout out to Pete Carroll. He is, I don't know what he is, but he's definitely not human. He's some sort of football alien. Let's talk fantasy football because there's a lot of good players, a lot of aliens out there that are getting people points. Let's do which player you were most right about first. What's a guy that you hung your hat on that so far looks good through 2 weeks?
One guy that I had as a sleeper and kind of anti-narrative preseason narrative pick was Deebo Samuel with the Commanders, and that's looking pretty good so far. I kind of identified him after they traded away their starting running back Brian Robinson and then Dan Quinn was talking about we're going to be kind of an unconventional offense, and the way that they're utilizing Deebo both in the run game and the screen game, he looks pretty good. Pretty explosive, not too fat, because the whole preseason narrative was
Debo.
Yeah. He's a little chunky. He's husky, but that's actually good. I think that's kind of part of his game.
Well, hold on. Let me before you say what you went wrong with. Is this? You could take a lap for Debo, but is this a good sell high moment? Or do you expect big?
Oh, there you go.
Marcus Mariota, Debo hookups.
I think it is an opportunity to sell high. I wouldn't blame you if you end up holding on to him though, because if Jaden is hurt for a while, they could utilize Debo even more on the ground. So I think obviously the big fear with Debo is injuries. And so, if you want to cash out right now, I wouldn't blame you on that. But I do think he's going to have a huge role in this offense. Through 2 weeks, he leads the team in targets, catches, yards, and touchdowns. So, it's looking pretty good for him. I think they identified him as a guy that they wanted to use in their offense a lot, and so far that's playing out.
Yeah, I like the Debo Samuel Wildcat potential there. Maybe they call it the Wild Fat. That
Oh,
would
I
be
like
good.
that.
There's something there.
The
Yeah.
fat cat. Yeah.
The fat cat. There you go. So we did what you're right about. We gave you a nice round of applause. Love that.
Yeah, good job,
What are you
Danny.
wrong
Yeah.
about? What are people coming at your neck for, Danny?
Guys, I have been on record as a Daniel Jones hater. I did not think he was going to be the number 2 quarterback in all of fantasy football through 2 weeks. I didn't even think he was going to be starting for the Colts, to be honest.
That's a fair point.
I thought he was going to be on the bench. Surprised he still has a career. No, I'm being kind of harsh, but yeah, I just did not expect this from the Colts offense at all. In fact, I think it's probably not going to last very long. But yeah, he's looked great. He's also rushing for touchdowns. He's stealing touchdowns from Jonathan Taylor. They're utilizing him on the ground. So, this offense looks pretty functional. They were good against a good defense last week. So I would say Daniel Jones is probably by far the guy I was most wrong about coming into the year.
But let's
Shout
give
out
him
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones is something, but Jonathan Taylor is helping him out, right? He's,
100%. Yeah.
Gigantic in terms of fantasy. That's a guy who left, I'm not an 8th round pick, but playing a lot better than you would have thought. So I would think he's helping. The problem with this is we've seen this, right? We've seen the Daniel Joneses, we've seen the Zach Wilsons, we've seen Sam Darnold, who ended up winning 13 games, but you have to figure out in your mind which is real and which has any lasting power, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the scheme certainly is helping Daniel Jones. They have quietly a really good skill group altogether. I mean, you Michael Pittman, super underrated. Alec Pierce is a good deep ball guy. Josh Downs, really shifty slot receiver guy. Good running backs, decent line. I think it's all kind of coming together, and that's why they ended up going with Daniel Jones, because I think Steichen's I want to run my offense. I don't want to try and do this thing with Anthony Richardson, whatever that is. And through 2 weeks it's working, but I would tend to believe this is gonna kind of peter out as the year goes on.
Yeah.
And Steichen right now the favorite to win Coach of the Year, according to FanDuel.
Yeah, and I kind of get it. We'll see if this lasts though.
Yeah, he's got the owner on the sidelines taking notes. So everybody's on their P's and Q's at this point.
That's
Sal,
an
you want to
unfair
talk
advantage.
fantasy?
That's an unfair advantage, I think, for Coach of the Year. It should be an asterisk by his odds if you got the owner, plugging stuff into ChatGPT on the sidelines. I don't know.
Sal, can you talk fantasy football? You're doing pretty well in the Ringer Fantasy League.
Can I talk?
That's why he brought you on, DK.
Toot your horn here, Sal.
Could Danny talking? I don't know. We did this Ringer thing, and we Simmons got us together, and I'm 2-0 as far as I can tell. Team Tajer is human. Is the only team to score 300 points combined the first 2 weeks. Danny Kelly 1-1. Brickhouse Tate 0-2. Just to kiss Simmons' ass, he drafted Drake May.
I'm the GM.
I hope it was worth it. Yeah, yeah. I'm just the GM. That never works. But yeah, Danny, I took the worst punishment because I'm like, I looked around. I'm like, I'm not going to lose this league. I'm not going to come in very last place. I'll get piercings all over my body if so be it.
I mean, it's aging really well. I was sitting next to you during the draft, Sal, and I kept telling you I liked your team. And so far, I'm looking really smart for liking your team.
Good. Okay. Yes. Tell people you were first to like my team. Yeah.
The Herbert pick looks really nice. Obviously, CD, Justin Jefferson, Dak, and you sniped me on both Tyler Warren and Emeka Ibuka, both of who have immediately become super fantasy relevant, like top guys at their position. So, yeah, I really like your team. I could be in a little bit of trouble here because I have Jaden Daniels, and if he misses a significant amount of time, I could be
so
bad
who are
for
you going
me.
to pick up? Well, you're going to go grab a quarterback. Who's
I have
Daniel
Cam.
Jones?
I think I have Cam Ward as my third quarterback, which so far is not looking great, but I might have to hit the waiver wire.
Well, that's the problem with these super flex. What do they call super flex?
Super
like
flex,
where you have to start 2 quarterbacks. Not
and Bill
a ton.
drafted 8 of them. So
that's right.
Gotta hold them hostage. Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody has an average of 2.5 quarterbacks, and Bill has 7.5 quarterbacks. So and none of them good, but yeah.
Well, you mentioned rookies. You mentioned Tyler Warren. You mentioned Cam Ward. Let's talk rookies because there's a lot of times we all buy into the hype. We all get excited about these guys. We put them in starting lineups. I had a lot of friends in my leagues have Travis Hunter in the flex to open up in week 1, which bold move. Let's see how that plays out. But which rookies right now, Danny, do you think you can kind of give up on, or at least maybe pull them out of the starting lineup for a little bit and see where they end up?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Travis Hunter. He was a guy I had written down here. I mean, he's just This was the worry with him coming in is the usage. How much are they going to play him on offense? How much are they going to play him on defense? How much is that going to change week in and week out? We've already seen it kind of fluctuate based on opponent and based on how much they're getting him ramped up on defense. He played more defense in this last game, and so he only played, I think his offensive snap count or his route count went down in terms of how many routes he was out there. So yeah, it's tough. And right now they're giving him these kind of low, low A dot, low average depth to target looks, kind of just screens and things like that. So he's not getting very valuable touches. Somebody on Twitter called him expensive Wandale Robinson the other day, which I thought was hilarious. Obviously, Wandale is actually looking really good right now for the Giants, but even, his story kind of throughout the last couple of years is he's just, getting past his 2 yards past the line of scrimmage and trying to run. And that's kind of how they're using Travis Hunter right now to simplify it. So yeah, that's a process. I think you probably just have to wait until you see a little bit more from Hunter. The other guy I think that is really disappointed and a little bit alarming from a fantasy point of view is Matthew Golden for the Packers, who, same kind of deal. They're rotating him in. He's only playing about 50% of the snaps right now, and he's only seen 8% of the targets in this Packers offense so far. The injury situation, Jaden Reed got hurt. That could lead to potentially more opportunities for Matthew Golden, but right now you just can't start him. He's not playing enough snaps. He's not getting enough targets. You kind of have to see how it kind of goes along.
Can I ask
everybody
you about
had him as the number one guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sal.
Sorry, Tate. But this is very important. I'm going to lose a lot of money if I keep playing RJ Harvey in my starting lineups here. I think I know the answer to this because if you look at Offensive Rookie of the Year odds on FanDuel, Jackson Dart, who is just in for gadget plays, is better odds than RJ Harvey for Offensive Rookie of the Year. So that's a bad sign.
Yeah, this is the problem with Sean Payton offenses is he tends to rotate his guys as well. It's the Broncos and the Packers, to me, are two of the most annoying offenses in fantasy. Even though they're good offenses, the coaches there just like to rotate their guys right now. I think RJ Harvey's playing something like 30% of the snaps. J.K. Dobbins is the clear-cut starter, and they're getting Tyler Beatty or Bidet or however he wants to say his name. I think it's Bidet, which is crazy.
That's a tough one.
I would change that.
They're playing him like 22% of the snaps or something like that. So, this is a full-blown 3-man rotation. You cannot trust it. I think RJ Harvey is the most talented and most explosive running back in that backfield. But, Sean Payton, you just never know what you're going to get from him week in and week out.
Yeah, and sometimes you get arguments with Bo Nix, like we saw this past weekend, where we got Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence yelling at each other. We got a lot of kerfuffles between quarterbacks and coaches, which is also fascinating. DK, we are compromised here. We are fans of this guy. Obviously, Javonte Williams went to North Carolina. He is a Cowboy running back right now, so Sal is compromised. So we go to you. We turn to you. Is Javonte Williams for real? Do we believe, based on what we've seen so far?
So yes, I think so. Generally speaking, he's the RB2 through 2 games. I don't think he's going to finish as the RB2 in fantasy through the whole season. However, I will say, and I loved him coming out. He's had some devastating injuries. I just mentioned a guy, J.K. Dobbins. Like him and J.K. Dobbins and Javonte Williams are two of like this, to me, the most disappointing careers in terms of how they've turned out and the injury situations that they've had to go through. So, but the underlying metrics for Javonte Williams so far are pretty good. He's 9th in PFF rush grade, tied for 11th in broken tackles. He's averaging 4.5 yards per attempt or yards per carry, 3 yards after contact per attempt. So he's breaking tackles. He's creating on his own. He has 8 catches, which is 7th most among running backs. So the underlying metrics through 2 games, and sometimes that can be really misleading. Sometimes it kind of carries into the rest of the season. But, things are looking good for him. And I think he's better than Miles Sanders. And I think that the Cowboys know that. So, and Jaden Blue, bless his heart, doesn't seem to be ingratiating himself with the coaching staff so far. So, I think he's kind of solidified in that role, and he looks pretty good. Cowboys have a good offensive environment. They run a ton of plays. Dak's going to give him a lot of opportunities to get goal line carries. So, I mean, it looks pretty real to me. He was one of the best sleepers in fantasy so far.
Definitely like what I've seen out of him. Yeah. I mean, it was like all the Broncos fans made fun of me when we signed them. Like, that's going to be the toughest 600 yards you'll ever have to watch for a running back. But no, it's obviously he's their guy and it's working out. And I do caution Cowboys fans. Tony Pollard does have more rushing yards than Javonte Williams by 1. But so let's not get too crazy.
let's let it play out. And
Okay,
Javonte,
yeah.
him breaking tackles is like, that's the Javonte that we know and
Yeah.
love. So that's the
That's
encouraging
right.
sign to me. DK, speaking of encouraging things, your shows, can you let us know where to go find all those so everybody can tune in? Always a good time listening to you guys.
Yeah, thanks. The Ringer Fantasy Football Show, which we record 4 times a week. You can find us wherever you find your podcast, and then go to our YouTube channel. We're trying to get as many people to come to our YouTube channel as possible. So yeah, check us out, the Ringer Fantasy Football Show.
Go
What's
check
your
it out.
107 record? Do you know?
We are 500, I think, right now.
There you
we
go.
went
That's
3-2 this last week. We're trying
Wow.
hard, man. We don't know what
Yeah.
we're doing, but we're trying hard.
I'm proud of you guys for everybody putting those graphics out every week. It's a glutton for punishment. But shout out to you guys. I believe there will be better days ahead, and you guys always have a good time. Great show. Appreciate you coming on, DK, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
See you, bud.
Of course, anytime. We're gonna take a quick break. If you're listening to the podcast. Coming up, we're going to have our best bets for Tuesday night. Again, if you're listening to us live, we are not going to go anywhere. We're going to turn to Tuesday night. It is Tuesday night right now. Sal, best bet on the board. Again, we got WNBA, we got MLB. It is a tough beat, but we are going to try to, push through here and get some ones correct. What do you got on the board?
No, it's good. I mean, look, I'm all over the place with baseball. I need a little break one night from betting the diamond matchups. I'm good. Let's go to the playoffs. WNBA playoffs started Sunday up against NFL. Good job by you, WNBA. Smart ratings wise.
Yeah.
I think someone got a hold of my outline because I like the Storm plus 5.5 over the Aces. It's now 4.5. The Aces won by 25 in game one. They have a 17-game winning streak. What could go wrong here, Tate, taking the underdog? But here is some promising things. The Storm beat the Vegas twice this year, and they lost two, and the two they lost were average margin of just 4.5 points. I think they play with some pride, the Seattle team. I need Nneka Ogwumike to go off tonight. You got this, Nneka. Storm beat the Aces for the third time this year, 86-84. Take the points.
You got this, Nneka. I believe as well. And I love watching the Storm play just because it's like the closest thing we can get to the Sonics. So,
Right,
we need
that's
to bring
true.
the Sonics back. And shout out to the Seattle Storm. That'll be a fun game. I'm going to go baseball. I have been incorrect the past 2 weeks. So if you want to fade me, that is a good call at this point. But I'm going to take Shohei and the Dodgers. He's pitching tonight. -1.5. You can get that at -132. Not the best bet in the world, not the most enticing bet. But again, it's Tuesday night. What can we do? And it's fun to have Shohei, pitching and hitting triples and all that sort of stuff. And, when you have a vested interest to watch Shohei and you're on his side, it makes it even more fun. So we'll take the Dodgers -1.5. What do you think about that, Sal? Bad,
I
good,
like it.
ugly?
No, they have to keep winning. They got to get that
Yeah.
one seed. They have to get the 3 so that they can play the Mets potentially in the first round. Yeah, anyone who has any opportunity to play the Mets in the first round should be licking their chops.
That's what we're licking our chops on these bets. We think they're going to hit this week. We believe. Sal, where can we find all your work? And then we'll let you go enjoy the rest of your day, man.
Come back tomorrow on this very channel at this very time. Well, not this time, an hour because you'll miss almost the whole show. But yes, noon to 1 Eastern time, Ringer Gambling Show right here on YouTube. It's me, it's Joe House, and it's Anthony DeBundo. And then back Friday with Heifetz and DeBundo, same time, noon here. And I'm not going to pick favorites, State. I won't do it.
I appreciate you.
That game.
I like that you did not play that game, and I like that you play my favorite game with the over/under reactions. And
Of course.
we appreciate everybody tuning in to the Ringer Gambling Show. It's a lot of fun. We enjoy these Tuesdays. All the shows are a lot of fun. Go hang out with everybody throughout the week, and we will see you next week.